Okay, everybody, so I've had a couple of people comment on my Commodore stuff that I had posted recently on Twitter, and that no one really remembers how slow stuff used to be. So what I've done is I've got my Commodore set up, and we are going to see how long it takes to load a game, a normal kind of game that people would play. So I'm going to switch over to that side of the camera here, and let's take a look. Alright, so what I've got is I've got a Commodore 128, which is in Commodore 64 mode, because that's what games came in, really. There wasn't a lot of native 128 software, because it was backwards compatible. I also have a 1541-2 disk drive here. This is not a 1571. And the 1541 is particular because it has a hardware incompatibility with the Commodore 64. It actually was designed around the VIC-20, and the timing in the hardware registers they were going to use in the serial bus is off by 1. So what they had to do was, instead of using the hardware serial clock, they had to do it all in software. So they very quickly wrote some software that they put onto the ROMs and the drives. The drives have their own OS and their own memory in them. So they had to write new software, put it in here, and that means that it's really slow, like crushingly slow. So the game we've got that we're going to take a look at here is Archon. Archon is a really cool game from, let's see, EA and Freefall Associates in 1983 is when it was published. And it's kind of like chess, the Star Wars battle chess kind of. And when you get your characters together, they actually then you have a combat screen and you have to fight. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop Archon in here. I'm going to type load, quote, EA, end quote, comma 8, comma 1, which you can see on the disk right there, if it focuses maybe. And then we're going to see how long it takes. I'm not going to speed the video up. And this is what I would have to do every time I wanted to play Archon with my friends. When I was a kid, this is the kind of delay you would have. So I'm not going to speed this up or slow this down in any way. This will just be real-time loading until the game screen appears. So here we go, onto the Commodore, load, EA, comma 8, comma 1. If you want to start your watches, we're going to start loading in 3, 2, 1, now. So let's let that go. So now we've got our splash screen showing the EA loading logo, which is difficult to see. Let me try adjusting the brightness on that screen some. Now you can see it. At this point, you normally would start getting pretty bored. You must really want to play this game if you're continuing to load it after this long, but these were the video games we had, so this is how we did it. Getting closer. And now we finally loaded up the game. So you can see that it's going through its startup screen here. And now we can play. So that took quite a while. So press run key to continue. Guess they mean the return key. No, they actually mean run stop. So you can see the game playing there in demo mode. But it's a fun game. If any of you have Commodores and want to check it out, but it took a long time to load. So that's how long it took to play games when we were kids on our Commodores. The 1571 disk drive came along later and significantly improved the loading times. The 1581 came out even later than that, but it was a 3.5-inch drive. And I don't know anyone who actually had a 1581. To use the smaller high-density disks. It's important to remember that that long loading time as well, these are only 150K disks, and the machine only has 64K of memory. So the whole game and everything else has to load into that space, and that's how long it took to actually load that data over. It takes forever. I've seen stuff from Commodore engineers that said that the actual transfer rates they managed to get through their terrible software interrupt system was only about 300 baud, which is really, really slow. It would take about 20 minutes to actually copy a full Commodore disk, even using 2 drives. When friends used to come over, we'd have 2 drives, and we'd hook them up and make copies of disks and things like that we could, but it still took a long, long time. There were a lot of fast load cartridges you could get, or even fast load software that would replace the loading code. Epic was probably the most popular cartridge, and those roughly give you about a 5-time boost in your performance, which is about up to where it normally was. There's also a full replacement DOS you can get chips and flash your Commodore and flash your drives with, called Jiffy DOS. Jiffy DOS is what's used a lot on the SD cards for Commodores these days. So that was just a little look to the past and how long it used to take to load games on the Commodore. Hope you guys enjoyed it. See you later.